So what this does is this is going to allow us to have more code reusability, improved readability, to make the code more readable, allowing to express the operations in a more modular and declarative format. And there's several other benefits for using currying within your function structure. So this lesson, we're going to be creating a curry function and passing in a number of different arguments, several different ways into the curried function, and then returning that results into the console. This exercise, we're going to be creating a currying function. So it's implementing a function that transforms multi-argument function into a series of single argument functions. So we want to output that into the console. So let's start by creating our main function, and we'll just call it curry. And this is going to be taking in the one parameter. So that's going to be the function, and it's going to be returning back the function value and having a curried value. So taking all of the arguments of the function that are being passed in and making use of those within this nested function. So taking the arguments length, so that's going to tell us how many arguments are being passed in there, and then we loop through and we make sure that this is greater than or equal to the length of the function itself, and then return back those arguments into a function. And I'll explain this, all of the code in more detail as we wrap it up. So here we've got the arguments that are being returned back within this nested function itself. And then we're going over to have a function. So if that condition is not true, then we return back the function content, and we just simply grab whatever the next arguments are. And I do need actually the 3 dots for that. And then we're returning back. I'm just going to indent this. So we're returning it back to the main function, so the curried function, and listing out as the parameters the arguments. And I do need, once again, the 3 dots there, and then also the next arguments. So we're returning all of those back. So close off those functions, and now we're ready to test the main function, the curry function. So let's do a test of it, where we're going to have a value of add A, B, and C. And then we're returning back the values of A, B, and C. So this will illustrate how this function will work. So let's go ahead and we're going to run and create a variable called curried add and equal this to the value of curry, and then we're just passing in the add function. So it's going to return back, and now we can use the curry add within the console, curried add, and then we're just going to pass in some arguments into there. So we've got a value of 1, we've got a value of 2, and we've got a value of 3. And this should return back 6. And we'll have some variations, so we can also have these within the same argument. So just nested together, and then we can also try these nested together. So it all in the end returns back the value of 6. So let's go through the code. So the curry function takes a single argument, fn, which is the function to be curried. And inside curry, then we create a new function called curried. So that's this one here, which accepts a number of arguments. And we need to check the argument length to check how many arguments inside the curried function. And that's going to be returned back in args lengths. And if it's greater than or equal to the number of arguments required by the original function, which was the function length, so it's coming over here. And that's the condition that we're checking. So if the condition is met, we call the function fun with the collective arguments and return the result. So that's what we're doing here. So we're just calling that function and with the arguments that are within it. And if recursive partial applications, so if the number of arguments provided is not sufficient and curried here, so if this condition is not met, then it returns back a new function which takes the set of arguments which are next arguments. and that returns it back into the curried function with the arguments in the next function. So it combines the previous arguments with the new ones and recursively calls curried again until the required arguments are provided. So that's where we're able to have multiple arguments there and have them comma separated and then simply just return those back. And so what we're doing here is this is just the testing of the function, and it's all returning back. It should return back the same value there.